In the news tonight, a reiteration of calls to put down the guns as a 13-year-old, the victim of a gun, is laid to rest. A positive response from Pine residents to the erection of cameras in their neighbourhood. The central banks welcomed as good news the most recent Moody's rating. And in sports, the Barbados Carifta track and field team leaves for Trinidad and Tobago.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is repeating the call for the youth of the nation to put down the illegal guns. And she also wants the older folk in society to play their role to get the guns out of their houses and off the streets. Ms. Motley made the impassioned plea while delivering remarks at the funeral service for 13-year-old Jonathan Chase, which was held today at the Garfield Sobers Sports Complex, Wilde Gymnasium. Andrew Lowe has that story.
I am Alpha and Omega.
The battle against the use of illegal firearms is one that must be fought by all Barbadians, and it is not a burden that must be left only for the police or government to carry. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley says 13-year-old Jonathan Chase being snatched from his family after he was shot multiple times while watching a netball game at the Silver Hill Hard Court 3 weeks ago is a sobering reminder that the illegal guns must go.
And if you see a gun, youngsters, stay away from the gun and anybody who has guns around you. Grandmothers, do not let anybody bring a gun in the house and hide it under your hats or push it in the back of a kitchen cupboard. Boyfriends and girlfriends, do not let anybody leave a gun at your house and push it in the clothes, among the clothes. And I'm giving you these examples because it is in these small things that we will honor Jonathan's life and all who went before him.
Members of the cabinet joined Jonathan's family and friends during an emotional and moving service to reflect on his young life cut short. The screams from the teenager's hurting mother pierced the ears of the hundreds gathered. Prime Minister Motley told the parents they are going to have to find a space and a place to allow themselves to heal.
Because this is a wound that no one should have to bear. It is bad enough for a parent to have to bury a child. But in circumstances such as this, it is beyond acceptable. I want you to give yourself and your family that space and that understanding that you need in order to heal. Jonathan would not want the rest of you to continue to carry a burden as you move forward in your lives.
Principal at the large school where Jonathan carved out a space for himself among the student body, Stephen Jackman, says his smile, which quickly turned into a mysterious smirk, will be missed.
He formed friendships easily, and given that he traveled on one of the more popular bus routes, he quickly became a darling of the girls from first form to sixth form. He lined with his friends and participated in or supported their activities, especially football and cricket. His outstanding feature was the way he carried himself, always on point. He liked to be well dressed, and he carried himself with the ear of a fashionista. All this added to the aura of Jonathan Chase, and it is this aura that we won't get to see developed to its full potential.
There were a number of moving tributes before and during the service. Senator John King delivered a powerful rendition of his 1996 song, How Many More? Andrew Lowe, CBC News.
As police continue their investigations into Jonathan Chase's death, lawmen were back in the general area where the shooting occurred today. Armed officers were seen walking through Maxwell Plains Christchurch, which is a stone's throw away from the Hard Court in Silver Hill, where Jonathan was shot while watching a netball game. CBC understands 2 people are in police custody assisting with the investigation. And we're hearing now that police are on the scene of what is reported to be yet another shooting. This latest gun-related incident has occurred in the area of Nelson Street in the city. CBC News understands 2 minors have been injured as a result of the shooting. We've not been able to ascertain the extent of their injuries at this time. Lawmen have the road cordoned off at the moment as they carry out their investigations, and will bring you more information on this developing story as it comes to hand. Authorities are installing closed-circuit cameras in some areas of Barbados. One of those areas is the Pine, which has been a hotbed of shootings in recent days. A number of gun-related homicides have also occurred in the last year. Some of the residents there who spoke to CBC are supportive of the cameras being there.
It's a good thing, great thing to got the cameras in the Pine to stop the violence. And they're glad at the Pine, and they want more in the Pine.
They want some more police force out here, and the youngsters to keep quiet and put away the guns so that we can live loving and nice. You understand? We want the cameras all over the place, not only in the Pine. You understand? All in the ghettos, all the streets, whatever. Put them so that we can put these criminals, catch these criminals and put them where they belong to.
I think the cameras around the area should be more secure and safe for the people of the environment to help crack down on some of the crime.
Well, they may call the cameras in the Point because, you know, if anything happened, well, the police have got some assistance rather than just be, you know, put the road. They've got some sort of footage that they're able to look and see what's going on. I welcome the cameras all over the place, man, especially Point and Barbados too. Yeah, I respect that idea.
So the issue with the cameras inside the neighborhoods, right? It really is an invasion of privacy, really and truly. We already got everybody that need cameras from the houses, got the cameras from the houses already. The crime don't happen here. If the people want to put the cameras, they can put the cameras, but they got to judge from the cars coming into the neighborhood. So they can keep them up on the highway, keep them up on the front roads, and you can see who leaving and who entering at whatever times they need to see whoever. But the cameras in here 24/7 rolling is an invasion of privacy. You're trying to tell me now, like, we can't come out your house in your box or something, so they carry your garbage. Cameras all upon you. You ain't know who watching these cameras. You ain't know spot this footage going. So let it keep the cameras upon the outskirts.
Minister in the Ministry of Finance Ryan Strachan says the recent upgrade by Moody's is further evidence Barbados' fiscal position has stabilized. He says government has been able to execute a robust Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation, or BERT, program in spite of the challenges the country has faced in the last 7 years. Moody's rating has elevated the long-term issuer ratings of Barbados government from B3 to B2, keeping a stable outlook.
I believe Barbadians by now can fully appreciate why they should never ever take for granted the importance of having strong economic leadership at the helm of the country's affairs. This has redounded to the benefit of all Barbadians in their everyday lives, as evidenced by the significant improvement in the delivery of a wide range of public services which ordinary citizens consume. We've seen more investment coming into the economy, but equally more domestic investment, particularly in housing, which speaks volumes about the level of consumer confidence in spite of elevated global inflation. Interest rates have reduced because of the improvement in the country's overall credit quality, and as a result, we are seeing more jobs being created.
Minister Strachan added government is conscious that in the current rapidly evolving external environment, Barbados must continue to be disciplined and continue to be innovative on all fronts.
in order to mitigate the potential downside risks prevailing within the global environment. Having said that, it is important that Bajans continue the reform effort to be able to get things done faster in order to ensure the growth trajectory that the government has set in place for the country can be achieved. It takes hard work and discipline. It takes proper professional management and leadership to be able to see these kinds of results. I hope that these continued independent reviews of Barbados' economy, that more and more Barbadians will see the benefits of being able to invest in the future of the country, be it in local businesses, business ventures, or in government securities. Recently, I have received requests for the issuance of longer-term debt instruments, which is part of government's overall strategy to rebuild the yield curve. But this is also a sign that confidence in the local bond markets is rebounding quickly.
Very good news. That's the word from Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, regarding Barbados's recent ratings upgrade. The international rating agency Moody's has elevated the island's rating from B3 to B2.
In fact, it's the fourth one since October last year. The report cited continued strong fiscal performance, continued falling of the debt to GDP ratio, the strong reform agenda that's been executed so far, and expected continued strong economic growth. Those are the main drivers behind the report. They also mentioned the fact that we have built buffers in terms of economic resilience, primarily the reserves as a very strong buffer, and that is especially important in today's global uncertainty or environment of global uncertainty.
Barbados's reserves currently stand at $3.4 billion. Dr. Greenidge says the upgrade sends one message to investors.
It sends a very clear signal of confidence in the Barbados economic program and policies. It now continues to strengthen our position in the eyes of investors and development partners. And what that does is, one, it helps to lower borrowing costs. Any debt should government decide to access markets. It also helps encourage both domestic and private sector investment, foreign direct investment into Barbados in key areas which we need in terms of infrastructure development, climate resistant tourism, etc.
Coming up on Newsnight, Barbadians find jobs as a result of the upcoming Reggae Festival. Scores of Barbadians will find work at this year's Barbados Reggae Festival. Word of this from show principal Ryan Brathwaite, as he and promoters, sponsors and other officials made a site visit today ahead of the event scheduled to start next Friday. Trevor Thorpe was there and he filed this report.
A galaxy of local and regional stars will be on stage for a 3-day reggae festival starting Friday, April 26. The occasion will enable the creation of over 300 jobs. The Reggae Festival principal, Ryan Brathwaite, says the 3 shows are billed as a family event and are expected to culminate in an unforgettable experience for everyone.
We're providing jobs from this event single-handedly for over 300 people, whether it be persons who are selling clothes, beauty technicians, even our staff that we employ directly, from our technical staff to staff from the sponsors. Over 300 persons are benefiting from this initiative.
Mr. Brathwaite says interest from patrons from as far away as Africa has been high for the event.
When I stood here last year, we spoke about persons buying tickets from Nigeria. That group is coming again. We have persons coming from the UK. In the last 7 days or so, we've seen at least a 50% uptake in tickets from persons purchasing outside of Barbados. So this is a good sign. The flights are booked out. We can hardly find flights for ourselves in terms of our artists coming. So I can tell you that persons are coming to Barbados this week for the Barbados, and next week as well for the Barbados Reggae Weekend.
Preparations are in place for the transformation of the Botanical Gardens as the show official expressed support for other show promoters as crews began preparation work on the gardens.
No fallout at all for the Barbados Reggae Weekend. Persons are free to express their opinions. As far as any fallout goes, I just want to wish any other promoter who's staging an event the best of luck. We're in this together, and we have to make sure and we have to ensure that our patrons are safe. That is the #1 priority. and provide quality entertainment. And that is the mantra of the Barbados Reggae Weekend.
Mr. Bartha welcomed all the sponsors and told those gathered for the site visit that the gardens and the facilities are disability friendly. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Local pediatrician Dr. Gillian Birchwood wants Barbadians to be better informed about the seriousness of measles. And with cases being recorded in fellow CARICOM states, she reminded that it is a deadly disease. She says it has a characteristic pattern in the way it develops. According to her, parents at first think a child with measles has the flu, and she doesn't want Barbadians to be complacent. Dr. Birchwood was a guest on CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados.
What measles does when it enters the body, it actually attacks the cells in our body that store a memory of all the illnesses we've ever had. It kills all those cells. So your entire immune system undergoes a complete reset. It's like if you take a computer hard drive that you've had for years and you wipe it. And so your body, the only thing your body is immune to after you've had measles is measles. Everything else you are susceptible to. And so after people have had measles in a country, there's an increase in the mortality rate in children because they get all those diseases all over again. It's a really dangerous disease to have.
5 organizations received donations from the Department of Emergency Management's Coastal and Smart Month charity event. The donations are part of the culmination of the DEM's Run Tsunami Run 5K Walk and Run, one of the activities held as part of their Coastal Hazards and Earthquake Smart Month from March 1st to 31st. The receiving organizations are the Business Professional Women's Club of Barbados, the Young Women's Christian Association, the St. Lucie District Hospital, and the St. Lawrence and St. Elizabeth primary schools. DEM Director Carrie Hines encourages Barbadians to find ways to contribute to personal, business, organizational, and family preparedness.
That is the only way we can achieve true national preparedness and readiness. The multiplicity of hazards that beckons at our doorsteps require us to be ever vigilant, ever prepared. We can take the necessary actions to reduce our vulnerabilities to these hazard events. So let us commit to safeguarding ourselves and our communities. Lastly, I encourage all present and the wider public to be attentive to the vulnerable in our communities and to extend a helping hand when and where possible.
Meanwhile, Deputy Director of the Barbados Meteorological Services, Brian Murray, emphasizes the need for preparedness in events of disaster.
The individual, the business community and families, they have to ensure that they have their preparations in order and to listen to statements from DM and the BMS, especially when it comes to coastal flooding and earthquakes and tsunamis. And once that is done, then everything will be all well and good. So,
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Sports time now, so let's head over to the sports studio where Anne-Marie Burke is waiting with the latest news. What's new in sports, Anne-Marie?
Well, good evening to you, Lisa. I start with news that the Carifta Games are just days away, and the first group of Barbadian athletes departed the island today to compete in Trinidad and Tobago. Our Anwar Goodrich boys was at the Grantley Adams International Airport for their departure.
There were hugs, kisses, good luck messages, and a final word from head coach Brian Holder as the first batch of local athletes left the island for Trinidad and Tobago ahead of this weekend's Carifta track and field games. The athletes were in good spirits this afternoon at the Grantley Adams International Airport as they prepare for 3 days of competition against the region's best. Among them was United States-based quarter miler Katie Rock, who told CBC Sports about her ambitions for Carifta.
To improve my times, obviously, and hopefully get a medal, placing in top. Training being good. I was training at school, and my coach, I ready. Just know I ready. Yeah.
First-timer Darion Belgrave is elated to be part of the squad and intends to do his best.
Yeah, it's a privilege to represent my country for the first time.
Talk to me about your plans for Carifta. What is it that you're going to Trinidad to achieve?
I plan to achieve a medal in all my events, especially the 100 meter, because that's my main event. So I plan to do great in that one.
General Secretary of the Athletics Association of Barbados, Renee Lane, is optimistic about Barbados' chances at the Games.
I think the athletes will give off their best. They've put in the hard work, they've done the relay practice, and they're in good spirits, and I believe that they will go, as the head coach said, and leave everything on the track.
Meantime, Coach Alwyn Babb has praised the AAB for selecting a large team for development purposes, especially in the relays.
We have watched Carifta over the years, and some of our knowledgeable spectators and athletic enthusiasts has always questioned why we're not in relays. This year, President Lynch has decided that we should be represented. I think that they must be congratulated. It gives younger athletes, especially under 17, an opportunity to let their feet at Carifta under less pressure than if they try to perform in the individual event. So let me congratulate them first of all for doing that. This year we have moved the number from in the 30s to 50 plus. But if you look at the makeup of the team, there's some areas that I'm quite concerned about where we're not having the traditional representation, and that can still mean affect the medal tally overall. But so far, I believe that the numbers, if you're playing a numbers game, you give yourself more chances of getting some medals.
The second group of athletes will depart the island tomorrow for the 52nd edition of the Carifta Games. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
A local insurance company has once again bolstered some of the island's Carifta athletes ahead of the meet which starts this weekend in Trinidad and Tobago. CBC's Anmar Goodrich Boyce tells us more.
14 members of the Elite Distance Program Club who will travel to Trinidad and Tobago to represent Barbados at the Carifta Games are receiving support from Co-Operators General Insurance. Athletes received special kits that included gear, among other aids. The company has pledged its allegiance to the athletes and presented them with tokens during a ceremony recently. Among the athletes present were past Carifta champions Ashlyn Simmons and Finn Armstrong, along with last year's silver medalists Jaden Walcott, Aidan Moore, Luke McIntyre, and Daniel Skeet. Human Resources and Marketing Manager Cheryl Ford encouraged the athletes to keep their eyes on the prize while excelling in the sport of track and field.
Keep focus on your dreams and know what your purpose is. And as long as you know your purpose and you align your purpose, you can't go wrong. So use your mentor, use your coaches as your mentors and things like that is what I want to encourage you to do. So Co-Operators General Insurance continues to support you, and we want to be there for you, and we want to be there with you.
Coach Ramon Armstrong thanked Co-Operators General Insurance for their contribution both off and on the track.
From the inception back in 2007, this is Co-Operators. They stood with us from 2007 till now, and we want to say a big thank you for that support over the years. And as Cheryl said, that support grew year after year, and they have provided job opportunities for some of our athletes. They provide internship as well. So it's just not supporting you on the track, it's also supporting you in life.
A total of 53 athletes will represent Barbados at the Hazley Crawford Stadium next weekend. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Barbados' legislation is favorable to the captive insurance industry. The observation from Chairman of Strategic Risk Solutions, Kirk Cyrus. He was speaking to the media about the development and the attractiveness of Product Barbados for investment opportunities. Let's hear from Trevor Thorpe.
From single-parent companies to complex commercial insurers and reinsurers, Strategic Risk Solutions is the world's largest independent insurance company manager. Chairman of SRS, Kurt Cyrus, says they provide management and consulting services for a wide range of insurance companies.
We manage insurance companies, so there's a cadre of insurance companies in Barbados who underwrite non-domestic business. They don't have any staff, any boots on the ground, as we say, and so we manage these entities under the terms of our Class 3 license.
The company official says with over 25 years in the industry, SRS manages a large cross-section of the captive market, and as Barbados allows direct foreign investment, its attractiveness is growing.
Given the landscape of the international insurance market, you have a situation where capacity is hard to, capacity does not exist. You have insurance companies that are not insuring certain types of risks, rates are high. They're not insuring certain types of insurable risks. So companies have had to go the route of self-insuring, basically looking at their insurable risks, their book of business, and deciding to what extent they have to take some of their risks in-house and insure it, as opposed to going into the commercial insurance market space.
Mr. Cyrus says Barbados' track record and its guidelines governing international business makes it attractive for foreign businesses to have ties here.
These entities don't have boots on the ground, but because of Barbados, how we are ideally set up where we every year train a number of young people who come out of UE, KFL, for example, as lawyers who are trained in accounting, business, etc. We're able to facilitate the running of these entities on their behalf by being able to provide these services that they need to run as a bona fide functioning insurance company.
The SRS chairman says Barbados is one of the top 10 captive insurance domiciles in the world, and with its right-sized regulations and the prevailing geopolitical climate, Barbados is poised for even greater things. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time to welcome back Anne-Marie for the second half in sports. Anne-Marie, over to you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Now, Barbados' trio of International Master Orlando husbands, Women's Candidate Masters Shannon Reefer-Bell and Women's Fight Master Hannah Wilson occupied the top spots after 7 rounds in the Sub-Zone 2.33 Open and Women's Chess Championships 2025 being played in Trinidad and Tobago. With just 2 rounds remaining, husbands, the top seed, is in prime position to win the Open division with 6.5 points out of a possible 7. His only blemish came in the 3rd round when he drove Jamaica's fight master Raheem Glaves. In the women's division, Reefer-Bell defeated fellow Barbadian Wilson in a top-of-the-table clash in round 6 to take over the top spot. Reefer-Bell then took down number 1 ranked player, TNT's Women's Candidate Master Yvette Hermoso Rodriguez, in the 7th round to move to 6 points. Meanwhile, Wilson recovered from her loss to defeat Women's Candidate Master Zara Lafleur in the 7th round and is currently in 2nd position on 6 points, trailing Reefer-Bell on the tiebreak. Now, Roland Butcher's Breaking Barriers from Barbados to England and Back has officially been launched. The autobiography of the Barbadian-born England cricketer details behind-the-scenes stories from his time at Middlesex County Cricket Club, including moments of triumph and adversity, and insights into the man beyond the game. Joining the launch at the 3Ws Oval Pavilion last night were a number of West Indies legends, including the Most Honourable Desmond Haynes, entertainer, the Most Honourable Stetson Red Plastic Bag Wiltshire, along with sports and education administrators. The man himself, Roland Butcher, and co-author Dr. Sasha Sutherland share the reasoning behind writing a book.
I think when you actually read in the book, you'll see there's at the beginning, we try to make this book so it's an educational and a literacy book as well for that aspect of teaching down the line. So a lot of the book is very much about that. It is not just a telling of a story of me being a cricketer, because there's millions of those. For me, we wanted to do something that was much more educational than that, something that would impact young people's lives.
And I think just hearing Mr. Butcher's story and just thinking about, Mr. Butcher, you did all this? And never once did he tell us when we were working with him that he was the first black man to play cricket for England. that he was a UEFA licensed football coach, that he had broken so many barriers, that he'd done so many amazing things.
The Most Honorable Desmond Haynes spoke to some of the light-hearted moments he and Butcher had on the field of play.
I remember the first time I saw Roland was when I played for Middlesex in 1989, that I really get a chance to play because, you know, he said that we went to trials for Barbados, and also, well, the test match here in Barbados, he didn't last very long, so we didn't really get a chance to give him any heckling. But I remember Gats and Middlesex saying that Desmond, I'm telling you, Roland is one of the best fielders in the world. And I used to be very keen to see when we were playing, especially in the Sunny League, Roland in the covers. I mean, I've never seen Colin Bland, but I think that Roland was a fantastic fielder. I remember seeing him there.
Well, that's our news for tonight. On behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.